Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first interview of 2025. We have a very special guest today coming from very, very far away, 20 minutes away from my house, here at VHA Magazine. My name is Victor.
And I'm Gustavo. And today we have for you guys our special guest, our broker, Sandy Hernandez.
Yay! Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to be here and be the first interview of 2025. So thank you very much for having
We
me.
wanted to make sure that whoever opened our project, our videos, you know um, our YouTube videos with someone special and someone that we trust and somebody that we've known and love and is gonna give us a lot of views and subscribers, not just anybody. So thank you, Sandy, for coming.
I really feel very privileged, guys. Thank you. Thank you. And it's an honor really for me to be here with them and the fact that they chose me to be the first uh uh guest here. That's really flattering. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's like una patadita, to success. Coming from a successful person, and obviously that's what we want to surround ourselves with, and that's why we wanted to do that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that you guys are going to do amazing things this year.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
It's been a few years now that I've actually known you. We've been working together. For me, it's been 4 years now, and like we were mentioning, like there's been a lot of success and a lot of growth in that time, um, and um, and everything that's happening starting this new year. And I wanted to ask you, like, what has inspired you to, for starters, like, what inspired you to get into real estate, and what has kept you going all these years? Because now you've been like over 20 years in the industry, right?
Yes, correct. Over 20 years in the industry. And to be honest with you, like I've shared before, real estate at first wasn't a thing that I wanted to do, right? But over the years, I fell in love with it, right? This is a type of career that if you treat it well and you give it love, it'll give you back love and it'll pay you back very well, right? And I started to fall in love with it because you start to see that you start helping people and you start to see how much people are grateful for that and you start to see how you're able to change lives and situations, and that has kept me there, the ability to change people's lives and now as a leader be able to change people's careers.
Mhm. That's a big effect. I think that on me has also had a big impact, having seen that change in people's lives, and the way that they react to the help that we offer. And I think that a lot of people don't realize how accessible a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
really is. Like real estate, it's just about like taking the jump, the initiative to like either become a homeowner, or if you want to move on to another property. But it's just like taking that initiative, and I think that is really cool that we're able to offer that to them, and make it open and easy for them to have access to it and be able to buy a home or become a homeowner.
100%.
My question to you is, you're not just a broker,
Okay.
but you're also a house flipper, or as we all know, an investor.
Mhm.
How do you manage and balance your roles, and what do you enjoy most
Of both things.
of both
Okay.
things? Because they're crazy stuff.
Both of them are crazy stuff, yeah. I think that first and foremost, I think I have a very good team behind me. I think that what I do, I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have an amazing team behind, just like my backbone.
Mhm.
And so now that we're with the investment side, I have a really good team that balances out the brokerage side, right? That even if I'm not there at times, they're able to handle it and be a great support for the agents and everything that happens there. So I'm able to focus on the investor side, on the flipping side. And what I enjoy the most about both is that both are very impactful in different ways. The one I do over here at the realty side is impactful for homeowners or first time buyers, getting them into their first home, or dealing with my agents, seeing how my agents are growing, how my agents are killing it. Like, I love to see that. I love to see that we're all just, killing it out there, right? But then on the other side, on the flipping, I love to see how that first time buyer builds wealth there, and now it's turning it into, now let's take you to the next level. And I think I love to see that. I love to take, a family that comes to this country with the American dream, and it's like they work like at a warehouse or whatever, and it's like for you to be able to show them what's possible, that your life doesn't just have to end there, that there's more, and you being able to be that bridge to build wealth for them. I think that's some of the most priceless things for my career in doing both.
Us personally, well, we've done flips with our clients, and obviously with your help, with your experience, with your team, and we've been very, very successful. So we want to thank you for that too, because not just anybody would, put their company, their money, and trust, just a random person to do these projects. So we've done, I don't know how many, but probably more than five for sure. Which one has been your favorite one? I have mine, and I'll tell you once you tell me.
Favorite flip?
Yes, like that. You say, "Oh my gosh, this is like the most beautiful home," and I mean they're all beautiful, but like which one like stands out the most, and it's your favorite?
My favorite, well, I can tell you my favorite was my first one.
Your first one?
My very first one, because it was done with a lot of effort, a lot of love, right?
Hmm.
And it was like, wow, like to be able to see the transformation, what
Hmm.
really happens, in transformation, you're like in awe, So I think my very first one was probably the most beautiful transformation one, because there was a lot more that went into it.
Yours, Gustav?
I think my favorite would probably be one that we did in Ontario. That was a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, and a 1 car garage. And I think, um, like you mentioned, like the transformation that took place was something that kind of left me like in awe, because when we did that one, I hadn't really had too much experience with flips, and I think that seeing the whole process, how like the behind the scenes of what goes on in flips and how much really goes into it, it's crazy. Like it really is amazing how they come out at the end of it.
Right, right.
Mine has to be Monte Vista, because it was small. It was 2 bedrooms, one bath, the kitchen. It's just everything that was added, everything that was changed. And then I know that one of the furniture pieces your husband gave to me is in my room. And it was just, to me, like it was just an epiphany of a home, because you have everything that you need.
Right.
You have decent sized bedrooms. Each bedroom had a window, a closet, a laundry, like a 2 car garage. Like it was just basically set, like you said, for whoever's gonna buy it. They're gonna probably could be like for a forever home, because they would not miss, or it wouldn't need anything else.
Right.
And then the kitchen was fully remodeled, and it was beautiful. Like it was just, when people will come in, they were just blown away with what we
Right.
did. And I mean, also because no one had done that in the area.
Right.
I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. Um, it was a drive-by client that stopped by in that house too. Art. He stopped by, and he saw me. I mean, a few days ago too, and bumped into me and said, "Oh my gosh, guess what? Since you guys did the remodel of the home, everybody in the block started doing like those
Yeah.
changes." And then I was like, "Really?" And then he's like, "Yeah, even the ugly house, like they kind of
Yeah.
like bump it up."
Yeah.
So that was
That,
pretty cool.
that's really cool. I think that also, I think one of my favorite things of flipping is that you bring a new standard to the
Yes.
community, and you make people like, hey, I don't want to have the ugliest house on the block. I'm gonna
Hmm.
fix mine.
Hmm.
And another thing too, I think I had never valued the contractors work so much. You see them how hard they
Yeah.
work and how hard they work day in, day out. And I'm like, now it's like, all right, I respect your guys' work so much, and you see
Yeah.
them different.
And then also, the opportunity to create work, wealth,
Work.
to well, for them work, but for our clients
Mhm.
that get into,
Mhm.
the industry in that way.
Right.
Like, they're already homeowners, they have a little bit of money saved, and they're like, you know what, I want to do a flip.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty cool what you
Go ahead.
do. That you open it up to people that are, that have never been in the
Right.
industry, and now they're like, okay, yes, let's do it.
And
Right.
with so many like flips that you do, you're consistently able to like annually close over 60 to 70 deals a year,
Mhm.
which is really impressive. What are some strategies or habits that you take on to be able to achieve that type of success?
Um, Number one, honestly, it's discipline has to kick in. Like you got to have discipline on override, right? You have to know that every morning, right? You got to have a plan every day, every week, every Sunday. Like start planning out your week. What are you gonna do? What do you have on schedule, right? Have a schedule in hand because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I always keep that in my mind. So discipline for sure. Have a morning routine. I think that is really important to have a morning routine or just to have a routine in general that really feeds your mindset, that really feeds what you're doing, because with this type of job that we have is so draining, so mind draining, that if you don't also give yourself some food brain, you'll be out. So I think having your systems in place, having your correct systems in place, right? And the discipline, those are the two most important things that I would say would drive you, what you'll be able to carry a certain amount of success. Another thing too is nurturing your clients. Always nurture your clients, calling them, sending them stuff, like always staying on top of mind of your client, and showing them that you appreciate them, that you remember them, that no matter what, how many years go by, hi, I still remember you. Do you need anything? Always service first.
Mhm. And I think that that type of service also has a big impact on your clients, where they feel the passion and also the drive that keeps you going, and makes you be able to help them in so many different ways.
100%.
My question for you now is, for your from your perspective,
Mhm.
how has real estate market changed over the years, and where do you see it heading in the next 5 10 years?
Real estate has changed drastically a few times. I mean, when I got into real estate, you're talking about everybody did FHA, similar to now. Right now the FHA loans are in, and that's primarily what everybody uses. When I got into the business, it was FHA, and then it drastically changed. No more FHAs. It was all just conventional. If you were breathing and you had a good social, you can qualify for $1 million home, right? And that was insane to me. I was like, whoa! And everybody was buying left and right, like El Paletero, like lived in a better house I did, because everybody, and that was crazy times. That was really crazy times, right? So then you have the market crash, right? That was another crazy time when everybody was losing their houses and stuff like that, right? And then you have the rebirth after that, right? Where we started to recover, and that was another market too, right? And then now I see it to where we're in a healthy market. I think that we are where we need to be in the 5-6%. I see it, and I see us being in a healthy type of market for the next 5 to 10 years, to be honest with you, if our interest rates stay within the 5-6%, and people start to get more confident about it, I think we're on a good way to a healthy market between now at the 5 or 10 years. I don't see anything crazy happening. I don't see any foreclosures happening like people expect it to happen. I think we're on a smooth sailing right now.
For us that were in the industry, I remember when I started with you 10 years ago, a house would last 6 months to sell. Remember?
Hmm.
And but nobody was in a rush. Like,
Hmm.
like sellers would list their homes, but they weren't calling us for an update.
Mhm.
And I think when you started, they were lasting a day, literally.
Mhm.
And so now I think that when we speak to sellers, I feel like there's always that little um, I don't know, curiosity, or they wonder if their home's gonna sell.
Yeah.
They have that fear, like they list it with you, but then they feel like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't sell?
Right.
And so, but we can use what has helped us in 2020 or 2021, where oh pues se le va a vender, like you put it and then it's gonna sell within
Right.
hours.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy now when you're taking a listing, and obviously it's gonna be contingent, they need to buy and sell, um, or in this case, sorry, it will be sell and then
Right.
buy. How do you prep your sellers? What's your tool? What's your advice?
I honestly prepare them, like I pull out my MLS and I'll
Mhm.
show them, look, this is how long it's taking, right now in this type of market to, and I'll let them know right off the hand, like through COVID times. I also use that too. That was a crazy time. That
That
was an
was.
that was an irregular time. So don't use that as a standard or as a benchmark, because that was irregular. So if I was you, I would have been scared of that time, because then
Mhm.
you're like, okay, what's really happening? Because houses would sell really quick. Now in a normal market, when I got into the real estate, houses would take about 3 months, and that was the norm. Nobody would question. So now I tell them, houses take about 45 days to sell, 45, maybe 60 days to sell. Okay, we want to sell it at the price we're asking. So don't freak out, because we're still faster than what a normal market would have been, like 3 months, like 90 days. So you're still on a good boat. Be patient, right? And as far as us buying a home too, you got to know too that we need to get this one sold so that we can get out there and shop for property. So I prep them out like that. Be patient, because, and I ask them two things. Are you in a hurry? Are we pressing for time, or are we pressing for money?
Oh.
Okay. Because if we're pressing for time, then that means that we have to list aggressively. We have to list aggressively. Okay. But if you're not pressing for time and you're pressing for money, then you got to be patient with me with time.
Mhm.
So those two questions are what I ask.
Yeah, because I mean, it's crazy. It's exciting to get a listing, but also for us, since it's unpredictable, it's anything can happen.
Right.
I mean, even just in this, I want to say this past month slash the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
with the new health awareness, or no, I would call it the new scare
Uh huh.
of people getting sick and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So I honestly thought, I mean, I pretend like I don't see it, or I
Uh
don't
huh.
care, or even the fires that are up north,
Mhm.
or I should say towards LA County.
Mhm.
I feel like you know that could also scare people from selling, and or they say, what, let's just sell.
Yeah.
I think it was, I want to say 4 days ago, I
Mhm.
heard that Bakersfield immigration was basically after immigrants, and I would say, that can also people either force people to sell, or at the same time pressure people, like
Mhm.
you said, because they have to have a reason to sell,
Right.
like to list. How do you go about it when, or how do you, because I don't want to be like aggressive, and because we're never aggressive when we're getting a listing,
Mhm.
but how do you keep that from not being part of the issue when you're actually getting a listing? Because I feel like it would be so easy for any of us three to
Mhm.
go to a house and just say, you know what, well, your house can burn down,
Uh huh.
or you know what, everybody's getting sick, what if you
Mhm.
get sick, and
Mhm.
since you're the bread earner,
Mhm.
and how do you draw a line, because obviously that can persuade somebody to sell,
Right.
and stay true to yourself and be like, no, I'm not going to use that
Right.
tactic. I'm only telling you because as a homeowner where we're standing, I do get calls. I do
Mhm.
get calls
Mhm.
from agents that are like, You know what? You should sell
Mhm.
because in your area you're very close to,
Mhm.
Big Bear.
Mhm.
You're very
Mhm.
close to
Mhm.
Crestline,
Mhm.
and then the fires,
Yeah.
and then the town or everybody's getting sick,
Right.
and then if you're the only provider, like,
Yeah. How are you
how do
gonna?
you take over that?
Well, for starters, that's called blockbusting. We're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be blockbusting. So I will never blockbust.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody brings it up, if that's one of their concerns, I'll piggyback off of it with facts, right? Not with what I think, but with facts, right? I could probably think like, yeah, it's really dangerous, right? But I probably won't bring my personal thoughts into it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll back it up with facts, right? But I'll only bring it up only if it's a concern for them, if they bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't bring up like, oh, when COVID, oh, people are dying. I don't bring that up unless it's a concern of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's really important to know too. Like when you take a listing, like, why are you selling? What are your concerns? What's your motivation? And
Yeah.
you'll be able to know where they stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's a topic of conversation that they want to have with you, you can. You just have to back it up with facts and not let your personal influence kind of the conversation. Yeah.
So for somebody that would be like starting out
Mhm.
and getting into investments, what type of advice could you offer them for people that are getting started, and how they could avoid common pitfalls for beginners?
Okay. Good question. I think that when you're getting started, I would highly advise for you to partner up with a reputable company or somebody that you know that is honest, because in this type of business, right? There's a lot of great companies, reputable and stuff like us. I want to say like us, right? That are honest. But then you're also going to find a lot of companies that like to take advantage of people. So you want to do your research first. I would say do your research first. Start following. If you see somebody on Instagram, social media, because that's really where we find people now, start following them. See how legit they are. Ask for an appointment, right? Ask them what's their history of flipping. You need to be able to see their history of flipping on their profiles, right? They have to also be able to show you when you go on an appointment with them. Let's just say you ask them for an appointment. They have to be able to show you their portfolio of flips, right? And you have to be able to have also that second backup. If you have somebody that has done business with them, go ask them, hey, how did it go with them? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did they do, right? So definitely do your research first, and don't do it alone. A lot of times, a lot of people want to do it alone. You need to partner up with somebody that's highly knowledgeable, highly trained, and reputable.
Yeah, and I think definitely building on what you said, that like for people that are starting out, having someone to guide you and hold your hand through it is
Hmm.
definitely something that makes the process a whole lot easier,
Hmm.
and takes away a lot of the headache, that the hurdles that you have to jump over when you're first starting, that are so much harder when you're going at it alone.
Right. And I would also suggest like start looking into incorporating, getting your corp going, your LLC going. Start if you don't already have a good bookkeeper, right? Start, researching a good bookkeeper, because you will need it when it comes to flipping, right? You want to make sure you have a good contractor also, a good contractor that does work, that what kind of work that they do, right? So, start getting your crew together so that way when you're ready to launch, you have your team ready to go.
Yeah, and being prepared, and like you said, like fact checking and double checking
Hmm.
people that you're hiring, and also the team that you're putting around you.
Right.
So that's really important.
What's your favorite thing to do after you're done of of your day is done? You worked, you went to the office, you helped us, your flips are fine. What do you like to do for fun?
I like to spend time with my family.
Hmm.
Okay, I like to. I've entered a senora season in my life where I like to be home. Where I like to be home. I like to cook. I like to. There's sides of me that I didn't even know existed. Believe it or not, I like to do laundry and fold clothes.
Hmm.
So I'm enjoying that part. So that to me is fun now. But I like to obviously I like pets, so I love to play with my dog. But other than that, I love to go watch a good concert. I love music. My husband's a musician, so we indulge in music a lot. So a concert, music concert, a live underground band that's playing down the street, we will go watch it. We love to go, try new foods. We like that, and I love wine. You
Hmm.
catch me at a winery on my free time.
You're,
Oh, and working out.
oh. I'm like, oh.
And working out. Yes, that's my. But I call that more of a. That's not so much like a fun thing. It is fun, but it's more like a to-do list in my
Hmm.
daily. So but it's still fun for me.
So, your birthday's coming up. What are you gonna do for your birthday?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I
No.
don't know. I don't know. My husband said he was gonna plan something for me, but we'll see. I don't
Hmm.
know. I I I I partied too much in December. We
We
there
did party too
there-
much.
there's a little bit too much going on.
Hmm.
And remember we had Friendsgiving, and then
Yeah.
we had two more parties, and then
Yes.
in the middle in between I had my family
Yeah.
party. So I'm partied out. So that's why I was like, you know what? I don't know what I want to do. I'm tired.
Hmm.
I'm tired. La señora is kicking in.
Like it's kicking in. No, I wonder because I'm like, okay, your birthday's coming up. You should plan something, Sunny
But I
too.
am accepting invitations. If you have plans, if you guys have plans, I am accepting
We
invitations.
should. We should.
Yeah.
We went to like Arrowhead, and we went to this little restaurant,
Mhm.
and it was cold. Like I think right now, because before the winds, obviously,
Yeah.
we went up there and it was really cold. ¿Te acuerdas?
Yeah.
Um, it was like that cold where your
Yes.
nose, your ears, you're like walking,
Yeah.
and it was weird because even though it was cold, I saw like an ice cream little shop,
Mhm.
and then I told them, you know what, let's go there, let's get there,
Uh-huh.
porque se me antojó the
The banana.
banana. Yeah, I saw, and well, it was the smell first of
Uh-huh.
all. It was the smell, and then I'm like, why does it smell like
So
cookies
good.
or something? And
Uh-huh.
it was hot, and I told him we should get like a hot chocolate or
Yeah.
something. And then he's like, no, it's cold, it's cold. And I'm like, no, okay, let's get ice cream.
Mhm.
So I end up getting like the big scoop of ice cream, and then I saw the banana, and I'm like, oh, I want that too. And the girl was looking at me like, that's a lot of food. That's a lot of-
But it's crazy how it's cold, but
Se te
se te
antoja.
antoja la nieve. It's so
Yeah.
funny how that works.
And then when we were walking away from the place to the car, people were staring, and they're like, where did you get it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm eating person. And I had to tell them like, oh, if you follow down this little sidewalk,
Yeah.
you'll see it. It was pretty cool. But yeah, we should go there. I think it would be very romantic.
Yes.
And I think that it actually just snowed there today. Today it
Oh.
just snowed up there. So if we went,
Well, get snowed in, and
Well,
it'll
I've
be an
never.
excuse not to come back down, huh?
Yes. Well, I've never felt the snow, so I think it would be really cool. But we have to take the truck because
Yeah.
at least if we, like, I don't know, hit something, we'll be safe inside
Yeah.
rather than.
The truck is the best thing to do, and not drive in the fog though, like in the day, because the
Hmm.
fog is super. Have you ever driven in the fog up there?
Only when we went to, I think it was 4th of July,
Oh, okay. Oh,
and remember, and then it was we had to go up,
okay.
and then no, actually we're coming down
Okay.
because we left early. ¿Te acuerdas?
Oh, huh.
And
I remember. I remember that day.
yeah,
Thank
you
you for
should remember that
thank you for
day.
reminding me though. It
So
was really good times though.
yeah, Sandy has a tradition where we would go on 4th of July to Big Bear
Big
Lake,
Bear Lake.
and we would have like the boat, um, and that day we had to leave early.
For technical difficulties.
Difficulties. Yes. So I remember driving down,
Uh-huh.
and the fog was in there, and then I was like, "This is really scary." Speaking of scary, have you ever walked into a house that you feel like something's wrong? Something's because I have a story to tell you,
Yeah.
of one where Myra's, that we experienced the paranormal stuff.
Oh yeah, all the time, especially the flippers, especially the homes that are like fixer uppers and stuff. You feel like weird, little weird things, you feel it dark, you feel it. It's scary. Some of them have scary vibes. Like it's a dark vibe,
Yeah.
and it's kind of creepy.
So for our experience, we were working with the client, and we went to several cities, and one of them that we showed them in, I want to say, Lake Elsinore, right? Or where? Menifee? Close enough. We were up over there, or somewhere over there, and it was a two-floor house. It looked like whoever lived in it, they literally just took their stuff, and they had never watered the house, um, or maybe just left it to dry. I don't know, because everything was dried outside.
Mhm.
It was a decent day. It wasn't hot. It was a corner home, and it was fresh inside,
Mhm.
which was surprising because it
Mhm.
was hot. And when we were upstairs, we walked into a room where in the floor there was a big stain
Mm.
of, it looked like dry blood. So
Jesus.
I don't know if you guys know, but when dry blood, when you look at it, it turns like brown, black.
Mhm.
It doesn't stay red like how we
Mhm.
see it or how
Mhm.
people imagine it.
Yeah.
So we're like, wait a minute, this is not normal. But we didn't say anything. We just were like, are you seeing what we're seeing? So when we went downstairs to the living room and we asked the client, we're like, what do you guys think about the house?
Mhm.
And they're like, it's not it. Like it
Mhm.
could be something else.
Mhm.
And I'm inside of me, I'm like, good, because what we saw upstairs,
They're
that
not
could have
good.
opened, a can of worms.
Yeah.
And as we're talking, everybody was in the living room. So her kids, everybody was in the living room, and we hear in the
Oh,
kitchen
Jesus.
and in the second living room
Mhm.
like a slam, and then like a big noise. So then the kids innocently, they're like, "Oh, well, someone's probably over there."
Mhm.
So then now they go over there and they're like, "There's nobody here." So I was sitting in the floor,
Mhm.
so I got up, and we all got like rushed to the ex
Oh
to
my
the
gosh,
exit,
no.
and we to the door. I mean, and then I'm like, "This is so scary."
Oh my God. Yeah. Those honestly, like going into people's house, and I don't know if it happens to you, but you leave the house and you feel some sort of way,
Yeah,
like kind of like
yeah,
sometimes tired or whatever. When I do open houses, I sometimes take my dog, and I take my dog for the same reason, because I'm like, how dogs could see, they have a sixth sense,
yes.
and he'll alert me if there's something going on. He had never ever acted out of character or nothing like that, until one house that we recently went to. He was barking into the hallway, and that
Which one?
freaked me out.
Is it the one that I'm thinking about or no?
It's
The
one in
Redlands
Redlands,
ones?
yeah. So he
Yes.
was barking. He
Oh
was
my
barking,
god.
and I was like, "Oh my God, stop it, Walter! Stop it, because we have still 2 hours to go here. Please
Yes.
stop." So he was barking, and then some gentleman got into the house, well, came into the house, and he looked, a little suspicious, and my dog started barking at him. My dog's really friendly. You know how he's very
Mhm.
calm. He doesn't bark at nobody, but he was barking. And then I was walking the guy around the house, and I had to time up because he kept barking at me like, get away or come over here. Like
Mhm.
he was probably seeing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was freaky.
That's one of the reasons why I don't have any like dogs or cats, because I know that they can see stuff. Well, I feel like they can do that, but same home. We went to do an open house, and typically I don't know why I like to be inside, like with two chairs,
Yeah.
or we usually get like closer to the exit,
Uh-huh.
just to, if someone's coming in, we right away rush to get the flyer and
Yeah.
then get
Get
ready.
ready.
So that day I was by the kitchen island,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like, okay, nobody's here, and I was just on my phone. I was leaning into the island, and then I heard boom, dun, 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 dun. And then I'm like, And then I remember, I'm like, Gustavo's not here
Oh my
because he had gone to get
gosh.
food.
Uh-huh.
So then I'm like, okay, if I run, then whatever's here knows that I heard. So I'm not gonna run.
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
gonna grab the chairs and
Mhm.
I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna want to be in the sun.
Yeah.
And you guys know I hate the sun.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in the sun,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna like wait and pretend like I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting right in front of the door
Mhm.
by the driveway,
Mhm.
or in the driveway in the sun, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would much rather be here than hear what I
Then
was hearing over
yeah.
there. But it was like everything was closed.
Yeah.
Like we make sure that we close everything. So the only thing that could possibly be open when we do an open house, and that's rare,
Yeah.
it would be the front door. So when I heard that, I called him. I'm like, "Where are you?" And I didn't want to say why I wanted him to be back like
Oh
quick,
my god.
because I'm like, what if it hears whatever it is? What if it hears like,
He
oh, he
attacks me.
knows? Yes. So then I'm like, where are you? And I was calm, but inside I was shitting my pants. I'm like, where are you? And then
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm driving back. What's wrong? And then I'm like, no, just come back. I'm very 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 thirsty. And then he's like, okay. So as I because I was looking down, when I look up, there was a lady coming in. So then
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to go in with her.
Uh-huh.
So then I'm like, I don't want to go in with her.
Uh-huh.
So all I did was like, oh, here's a flyer. You know what? Gustavo's not here, but when he gets back, like if you have any questions, he'll
Yeah.
be more than glad to help you
To
with.
help you.
So then she went around and she was just wondering, like, he's like, why is he not showing me the
Yeah.
house? And then I didn't want to go back in there, but there was something about that house that I felt like
It's weird, huh?
weird.
Very
But
weird.
out of all the homes, it was just basically that one, and I've never been afraid.
Mhm.
Ever
Mhm.
been afraid,
Mhm.
even if when we know that someone passed, because
Right.
we just showed one in here in San Marino, in what was the street on H Street.
Okay.
Um, but you can tell that whoever lived there had just passed because they still have the oxygen, their bed,
It.
the
Oh yeah. That
medicine,
I feel
and
really
then that
sad when I see that.
smell,
Oh, that smell.
the smell of like people that are sick.
Yeah.
So then I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I would look around, but you can sense the
Yeah.
the energy in your
Yeah.
chest. But that, yeah,
That's crazy. That and these are lessons that the business teaches you.
yeah.
Smells, vibes, like all of this stuff. Like you start to kind of, get in tune with that. That's so
Hmm.
crazy.
Well, remember the client you had that would tell you like, "Vendeme la casa," that she would hear things, or she thought the house
Oh,
was
uh-huh.
haunted.
Yeah, yeah.
You should share that story too.
Oh no, that story's so scary. That story's so scary. I remember that.
Remember?
But no, she got help.
She got help.
She got help. Yeah, and it was her.
Oh, it was her.
Mhm.
Pobrecita casa. There I am, like, oh, the haunted house.
Yeah, no, it was her.
Hmm.
Yeah, so.
In Orange County, there was a house that was known to be a haunted
Uh-huh.
because people would die all the time,
That's crazy.
and they, I, it's where, well, I, that's what we were told. Where the Clue movie came out,
Mhm.
or why it was written, the book, or whatever started Clue. And it's still where it is. It's a mini mansion,
Mhm.
and it's, if you see the cover picture of the book and the actual house, everything's the same.
That's crazy.
Everything that the book has that's supposed to have,
Yeah.
because of the scenes in the book and stuff, they have it still. It's on in Santa Ana,
Uh-huh.
and when we would walk by it, because our elementary school was right in front of it actually, we would be so scared to walk
To
by
walk
it.
by it.
So we would cross the street, even though we had to go through there. We had to cross the street and then pass the house because we wouldn't be able to go through the front because
Whatever.
nos daba miedo.
It's creepy.
We always thought someone was gonna come out
Or
and
you're
be
gonna
like,
see somebody by the window or something.
yes,
Yeah.
just because all these people that died there, and I'm like, oh my
Oh, that's
god.
creepy. Oh no. Oh yeah. Anytime I look at abandoned houses or whatever, I don't look because I feel like I'm gonna see somebody like in the window or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, something scary. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I don't like scary.
Me either. I don't look. I don't watch scary movies.
I do.
Mhm.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
can't.
So moving on, one since we're on that kind of in that sharing stories period, what would you consider like one of the more memorable stories you have from your clients, or one of your experiences that you had with your client that was memorable for you?
Honestly, I have a really good one, and I think I always remember this. It's so crazy. You never know who you're gonna meet. So, I had a open house. I want to say maybe like 8, 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, something like that. And it was in Adelanto. Nobody would stop at that house. Like it took me a long time to sell that house. Okay, but I only had one client stop by, and that one client um, was happened to be Clara, our agent now.
Yeah.
And that's how I met her. Clara walked in with her kids, and they were all little. All her kids were little. And she walks in and she's like, "How much is this?" She's like, "Oh, well, I can't afford it. Like, we blah blah blah." She told me her story and everything. She's like, "But when I'm ready to buy, I'll give you a call." A year later, she calls me, and her husband's dad was selling a business in LA, and was going to give them the money cash to buy a house. And so I helped her buy her first house with her husband. I helped them buy their first house in Adelanto, a beautiful house and everything else. So we kept in contact. Fast forward to now, and throughout the years, she kept communicating. She's like, "I would love to do what you do," and I'm like, "You should. Why not?" So one day, she's like, "I'm ready to do it." She signed up to the classes, and next thing you know, she is an agent, and she's now a successful agent. So that's one of my most memorable stories. You never know who you're gonna meet and what type of fruit they're gonna bring into your life. You know, I love it because our business gives us that opportunity, right, to meet amazing people, right, that end up being
Right.
in your life more than clients. So
Yeah, and being able to change people's lives like that, I think too is.
100%, yeah, all the way around. You turned her into a homeowner, but not just that. I was able to turn her into a real estate agent, right?
Mhm.
So I love that story.
Yeah, and Clara's a cool
Yeah,
person.
she's
I've met
really
her.
cool. She's really cool.
I think that's really cool. Like when people they see like everything that we do, and they're like, oh, this is really cool. Like the way like everything is within the business. Once
Yeah,
you see like behind the scenes,
yeah.
like how much effort goes into it, like it really does make an impact,
And
I
make
think.
an impact. Yeah, you're like, I could do it.
Yeah, in the same subject, I think that is pretty cool when somebody looks up to you,
Mhm.
when they're like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I can do what you can do,"
Mhm.
or "I want to do what you do." I
Yeah,
mean, I think it's always really cool.
it's
I
cool.
mean, I would always wanted. What did you want to do before real estate? Like, what was your?
What was
If
my?
you would have not done real estate, what would you be doing?
I wanted to work for the FBI. I wanted to work for the FBI because I wanted to be up in people's business. I like to
Hmm.
investigate. I like to investigate and put like clues together and da, da, da. So I wanted to do that, and I actually did go to school. For that. I think I've shared. I have a bachelor and I have a minor. And so I have a bachelor criminal justice and I have a minor in sociology.
Hmm.
So I wanted to go into the I wanted to work at the FBI. And if I wasn't doing real estate, I probably would not be here right now. I would be on somewhere on another side of the world because I was going to be border patrol, La Migra. I got
Mm-hmm.
hired by La Migra, so they
Hmm.
wanted to sell me to El Centro, and then afterwards I was going to go be stationed in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So if I would have taken that route, I would have never been over here, met you guys, or probably been married to my husband. I would have been
Hmm.
somewhere in Texas. I don't know, somewhere over there by the border, yeah. Or by this time, maybe FBI, because in order for you to go into the FBI or the CIA, you have to start at the ground, and the ground is border patrol.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was gonna, not that I wanted to do that, but that's what my mentor told me, that I needed to start there, work there a year, and then start applying for all the federal positions in the FBI or whatever, because now I would have 1 year experience in the federal government.
Hmm.
So that was my goal. I was gonna work there a year and then transfer over to the FBI.
That would that would have been really cool too. Either
Mhm.
either way, it would have been like, because
Yes.
you'll be saving lives still. Like here,
Yeah.
you're creating lives, or not creating lives, but like
Careers and maybe and
careers,
stuff like that.
and then people that buy homes, like we're creating their,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
little casitas and stuff,
Yeah.
or flips and stuff like that. But over there, you'll be protecting
In a
lives, right?
different
Because that's what FBI
yeah,
does.
in a different way, in a different sector,
Hmm.
it also it would make you become a different person too.
Yeah.
So I always think about, I'm like, who would I have been? Who who would have been my friends? Who would
Hmm.
have been my husband? Like I started
Yeah.
thinking, what would my life have looked like if I would have, if I would have gone that route.
Would you had told your future husband you were an FBI agent? Or are they supposed to tell people? Like, no,
Yeah,
right?
I
Because they're
think you guys
supposed to
want to
keep.
kind of undercover.
Yeah, they're
Well,
supposed to keep it like low key,
okay.
low
You
key.
would
Yeah.
tell your husband like you're an FBI,
No, I
or
would have
you
been
would be
like, I
like.
don't work. I don't work. I'm on unemployment. I'm poor. And then I'll be doing all kind of research on
Yeah,
him.
I'm like, wait a minute, and then
Do
you're like,
background check.
Yeah, background check and everything. But
but
it
that would be so cool. Think about it.
yeah, it would have
And
been
I'd be
very
like,
cool.
oh, I don't work. I don't even speak English.
Yeah. I just know hi. That's what I would probably have done. Like, I don't work.
I wonder if they actually do that. Like
Could be.
because we were watching a movie too, and we were like they were both agents,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh my gosh, are you an agent? Because
Yeah.
if you are, just tell me.
Tell me now.
Tell me now, because yeah. Let's see. So we talked about real estate. We talked about flips. Do you remember like, or can you think of the most expensive house that you have sold?
Mm, the most expensive house that I have sold is probably 1.2.
1.2.
1.2.
Yeah,
1.25. No, actually, well, I've sold a warehouse for 1.6.
1.6. Okay, so that bumps it up to 1.6.
Yeah.
Imagine 1.6. I think our highest
That's like
is
double our highest. Our highest is like 820.
Close.
close.
Very close.
Very, very. By
A
how
few
much?
$1,000s off.
Almost, yes.
Yeah.
Um. All right. So it's been obviously two almost 2 decades, or 2 decades that you in the industry. Um, for the upcoming decade, where do you see yourself?
To be honest with you, I think I shared this with you guys too. I want to possibly retire. I want to retire in the next probably 10 years. I want to retire early. I want to
Early?
retire early. I mean,
And then what are you gonna do once you retire?
well, no, go into other stuff, like do other things, maybe develop.
FBI.
No, maybe develop, instead of flipping, now we develop, like
Hmm.
develop buildings, develop, just go into development, but maybe not, when I say retire, I mean like possibly pass on my retail business out to somebody else to handle for me, obviously, right? And me go into something else. I'll start traveling hopefully by then, to where I can actually do more things like that, but still be kind of young, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's my goal, like just to kind of do something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that in well, I don't put it in 12 or 10 years. I usually just go by the year.
Mhm.
I think we want to like travel more
Yeah,
because we did a little bit of travel last year, but we want to do more.
yeah,
But I think like you mentioned too, like having that goal of retiring within the next year, like you have to set the
mhm.
goal in order to achieve it. Because if you don't put the goal, like you mentioned, then nothing
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, nothing
So
happens.
and also I read uh shoot, I forget what it's called, but there's basically like it's like this law that pretty much the time limit that you set on
Uh
yourself
huh.
is kind of like what you achieve. Like whatever, if you say in 10 years I want to do this, then you'll probably do it in 10 years. But if you say like whatever time frame you set for yourself, that's
Yeah.
kind of like what you end up accomplishing, like like
Your
when we have
benchmarks,
deadlines.
yeah, your
Yeah,
deadlines, yeah.
and then you work towards accomplishing that, and I think that that's a really cool goal to set, to be able to like pretty much retire and not have to work all day.
All day.
Yeah.
I mean, still work is maybe still like to where your business functions by itself. To where like you don't really, that's just one of your many businesses, right? Because the goal is to be an entrepreneur to where like real estate is going to be one, but then you also have other businesses that you're handling, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the goal is to have multiple businesses, right? To where real estate is one funnel, then you have your investments, and then you have whatever other businesses you want to get into, you know. That's how I want my future in 10 years to look like, to where like it's I have multiple businesses.
I think you can maybe aim to be a bank,
Could be.
because if you already mastered, selling, buying lots, mobile homes, and, obviously, businesses and so on and so forth. Now you and then flips. Now you can, at that time, I'm sure you're gonna become the actual, instead of us asking for a loan, be a bank and
We
be
could be
like,
a
okay,
bank.
you guys wanna do flips? Okay, then I can lend you the money. And um, I think that's how I envision you. Also, I feel like, because the industry has changed so much, at least in the 10 years that I've been in the industry, it has changed so much. Like everything, with new apps, new companies
Yeah.
that are virtual.
Yeah.
And we went to Redlands, and the virtual ones, there's like a little mini
Yeah.
office there. And then I was just like, okay, sometimes, we don't think about those things, but I think that, at least for us, I think that will be really cool to implement, to
To
aim
aim for
for.
that.
But I also believe in asking the universe for things. Like, I tested it, I want to say, last month at least once. I never done it, and thought about it, and it worked. Like when you ask for something to the universe, and don't get me wrong, it didn't happen the next day, but it took time, and
But it
then
happened.
whatever I asked, it happened. Do you believe in that, or?
I believe, I believe in higher powers, and I believe that your higher power could be the universe, and totally valid. Other people believe in other things. I believe in God. Like that's my higher power. So,
Mhm.
it's I pray and I ask, So yeah, the universe is, I've read actually a book called The Universe Has Your Back,
Mhm.
and it's an amazing book. It's a
Mhm.
really, really good book. If you haven't read it, it's really, really good. It tells you like laws of how the universe has your back and stuff like that, and it's a really, really cool book. So I do believe in that. I do believe in the universe having your back. The universe, you putting it out there, right? You speaking it into the universe, and it'll just bounce back to you. I believe in that.
Mhm. What do you believe, Gustav?
Kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like where you put it out there, and then because you believe that you want that to happen, you believe it's going to happen, then it ends up circling around, and it comes to fruition. And I think that that kind of, in a sense, to me at least, is kind of like goal forecasting, or you're like, you're trying to set a goal and put it out there, and you want something to be done, or something to happen or be accomplished. And I think that um, it's like goal forecasting, and I like it because it's like speaking it into existence, pretty much.
Existence, yep.
Because, I mean, I'm just saying this because I don't think, I mean, out of everybody in the office, I've been there, I can say the longest, and I don't think you remember how we started. Because I remember, for example, now we literally have three buildings. But I remember, a few years ago, when you would tell me, you know what, next door, that's going to be our office. And then I would look at her like, "Hi, Sandy." Remember, I would tell you that, I would like, "Hi, Sandy," and she'll be like, "Yeah, you'll see, we're gonna have it." And then, boom, you know, and now look how big we are. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's
And we're growing,
crazy.
and we're growing.
And like all these people that are there, like we
Mm-hmm.
started with it was let's say we started with 10,
Yeah.
and then I know there was
Yeah.
a little bit more,
Right.
but now we have all these people that are
New
very like
people,
new people that are still coming.
like
And
goal getters, like
yeah.
like trabajadores, super hard workers and stuff. What was that word that I used earlier? We're tiny but mighty.
Mhm.
We're like
Mhm.
a smaller scale. Not that small, but but a lot of people would doubt us. Like and
Yes.
whatever. So I'm like, yeah, we're tiny but mighty. We're like the underdogs.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like we come out of nowhere.
Yes. So I mean, I just want to tell you that I'm very proud of you because that's all that you have achieved by yourself. That's like, do you ever sit down and say, uh, uh gosh, I have so much. Like, do you believe it, like what you
No,
have?
you know what? I always say, but I've never seen it like I've accomplished it myself. I've always done it like my team. Like I always feel like it's been a group effort, right?
Yeah, but if you didn't exist, I would have not existed.
Right. But I think we feed off of each other because I think that I get accountability from you guys. So
Mhm.
so that has helped so much also for me to keep me accountable, to keep me disciplined because I feel that I have a team or a group of people that rely on me
Mhm.
and I can't let you fail. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The minute I let you fail, I fail.
Yeah.
So we hold up each other and we're holding up each other up that ladder. So I think that it's been a mutual thing. It's been a mutual thing because there's so many distractions in the world. There's just so many distractions, right? And you can easily get distracted from your goal like this, right? And I am one of those people. I'm actually naturally very distracted, but I think what has kept me focused is my team. My
Mhm.
team, I can't fail you. I
And
can't fail
then
you.
you share so much. You learn something, you share it right away. You I don't know, like I've never met anybody that's like you. Like that's because I worked since I was, very young, and everybody wants to keep
Mhm.
their power. They
Mhm.
want to like not, like and personally, you can't say this because obviously we're born here, but
Mm.
being an immigrant, like I remember, let me give you one of my first jobs. I remember I was working for Subway in Santa Ana, and I would come up to the manager and I would tell her, like, you know what, I wanna not just make sandwich. Teach me how to use the register.
Mm.
I know it sounds really dumb, but like I was trying to go up the ladder. I
Yeah.
didn't want to just do sandwiches. I
Right.
wanted to look eventually be, I don't know what was next from there. I think it was like assistant manager, or
Mhm.
then obviously manage a store.
Yeah.
And then she would look at me like, but you can't.
Mhm.
Remember you at that time I didn't have papers.
Mhm.
So she would tell me,
Mhm.
she'll be like, you don't you were not born here, so like you can't ask for those
Yeah.
things. And so I felt like, gosh, like how evil can people be to not like share. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Just teach me.
Right.
Pay me the same, but teach me. I
Right.
want to learn.
Right.
And with you, I mean, from day one, you not just with me. You've done it with him. You've done it with any other agents.
Mhm.
You sit with them and you share your knowledge,
Mhm.
like, and then I think that's very like I admire that from you,
Mhm.
because you don't care if they stay with us. You don't like you open your heart, you open
Mhm.
the doors to your business.
Mhm.
Whoever wants to make money clearly makes
Makes
money.
money.
Whoever doesn't, but either way, you still get the same treatment.
Mhm.
Like you get taught,
Mhm.
you get informed, you're held to obviously
Right.
an expectation. And I don't know, like you've never yelled at me, you never like. And how do you what trained you to be like that? Like how do you in your mind, I want sometimes I want to like like I don't know, like I try to get your attention to where I'm like I'm gonna do this, but you never lose your cool. You never like how do you do that? Because I do lose my cool.
Right.
Like
So I think a lot of people call it mental,
mhm
dumb, right?
mhm
And I think that for me, I always again I believe I believe in God or whatever, and I always tell God, you know what, God, whatever you take from me, take everything. Just don't let me, no me quites. I tell him like this: no me quites lo menso al 100%, porque el día que me lo quites is the day that I stop being me, right? And I think that we all have gifts. We are all born with gifts, but those gifts aren't meant for you to keep. They're meant for you to give to others, right? They're meant for you to bless others. And there's a story in the Bible, not to get biblical or anything, but of where like three people are given a talent, and the talent in that day they were monedas, right? Entonces, one of them hid it. Oh no, this is mine, and put it away. And one of them sold it, and the other one invested it, right? So guess who duplicated their gifts? The investor, because he invested it, he planted it, and that's what you're supposed to do with your gifts. Your gifts, you're supposed to plant them and invest them into others so that that can bloom into life, and I like to do that. I feel that in life you always have to give. You have to give. Si mirar a quién. You have to give it. You have to plant it in the world. Plant it in the world, because at the end, when we leave, this planet or whatever, nothing stays, only what you gave to the world, right? Yeah. And that's really important. I think I live my life like that, and you know, keeping cool. That now that is a trained skill.
yes, because I would push your buttons when I work
That
as
is
your assistant,
honestly that
and I will be like, she's not yelling at me. Like,
you know
why? What's wrong
that
with?
that is a trained skill. That is a trained skill, and and you can talk to Jesus about that. You can talk to Jesus about that, because I'm like, dude, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, like I can't. There's times I do lose my cool, right? But other times I'm like, I try to, show people grace. Like, you know, we're supposed to walk with grace and show other people grace, right? And I try to live like that. Sometimes no me sale, but for the most part, and clients will teach you patience. How many times do clients freaking push that button, right? Those are all tests, right? So that's a skill. We learn it from that. And to a point that you're like, it doesn't pay. They're talking. You're like, see, you're like, see. Okay, bye. And you're like pissed off, but you're like, whatever. And it's so crazy because in this business, you have to learn how to turn off and on that button. Because how many times are you having a good time and we're laughing, and de repente you get that call from that pissed off client that just immediately pissed you off. But you have to be able to hang up the phone, turn that button off, and come back right back into your mood. Sometimes I think that's a little bit what is that word called? Bipolarish. Because sometimes you're like, like it's bipolarish, but
To switch, yeah.
it's a skill that we get trained, to do.
And I think like that composure and being able to like not let certain situations get to you is a really like crucial skill to have, because there's a lot of times that like things get heated up, emotions get um, like people lose control,
Right.
and sometimes let it out on us too, and
Right.
and you know I think like you mentioned, like having being able to keep composure is really important, because obviously we can't like blow up on our clients. We
Right.
have to be composed and
I sometimes.
Yeah.
when you deserve it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I've always admired that about you too. I've never seen you like um, blow up or anything, or like really like
You see me
get
mad.
I've
Mad, but not blow up.
mad, but not like I don't think like blow up like to get really upset. Just like
No, I think like for me, like what I'm trying to say is that let me give you an example. We had a client, and he came to the office and he was shouting at you, and you were like, Sí, señor. Ok, no se preocupe. Vamos a ver qué está pasando. Blah, blah, blah. But if I would have been there, I'd be like, mire, cálmese.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, it's just, I admire that. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like, I mean, how can people do that? Like,
Yeah.
like,
You diffuse things the opposite way. You
mhm.
know, like if they're yelling at you, like
What was his name? Ricardo.
shout out
Shout
to
out to Ricardo.
no, I
I will
think
yell at you.
I think that's just a I think that's just a way of diffusing it, you know?
Mhm.
Like sometimes you just gotta be a little smarter than the client, you know, and kinda use a different tone because if he gives you anger and you give him anger, it'll get out of proportion, you know? As much as you wanna choke him, you know, you're like,
Mhm.
oh dude, I wanna tell you a bunch of things. But you know?
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
then how did you start like in this industry? What was your first the reason why you started in this industry?
My mom, I signed her. Why didn't I sign her up? I gave her a number to a class. At that time, it was unheard of. Like real estate classes in Spanish, it was unheard of, right? So I saw a billboard and I took the number down for her by her house. She started going, and like 2 weeks later, they asked her if I can that they saw that she had a daughter and they needed a front desk girl because the front desk girl had graduated to the loan processing department in the back, and it was going to be part-time and stuff. And my mom asked me, and I was going to school at that time, and I was like, oh, I don't want to work right now, mom, because you know I'm almost done and I don't want to it's just 4 hours and blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. And that's how I got started. I got started in that little bitty office while my mom was taking classes. I would be in the front desk, and 4 hours turned to six, and then eight, and then the next thing you know, they needed now another girl in the back. So I graduated into the loan department to be an assistant loan processor. So I honestly started doing loans first.
Mm,
I started doing loans first, but I didn't really like it. I like being out with the real estate and looking at houses and stuff rather
mhm.
than loan, because loan everybody blames you.
Sí.
Everybody blames you. You know, they
Yeah.
would come in, "Eh," and I'm like, no, I don't like this, right?
Mhm.
But I did it. I did it for probably the first 2 years of my career. I actually became a full-blown loan processor where I would package up the whole and work on conditions and do all these things, you know. But yeah, then I just kind of started to I would do because back in the day you were able to do the two things. You were able to do loan and real estate. So it was a point where I was doing my own loan and I was doing my own real estate. So I would double
Oh,
in,
okay.
and it was a cool time because you would make money
Double.
on both sides, yeah.
Mhm.
But then the market crashed and everything, and you know things changed.
And how did Synergia started?
So Nerja started because when I used to work at that little office, one of the loan processors asked me um, to go be his right hand. He was going to open up his office, and he did. He opened up his own office in Grand Terrace. We were there, and the whole idea was that we were kind of partners. I was his right hand, and he was never there, so I would do all the work or whatever. And so it was like it was my company, right? And so then my mom said, "You guys should move. We should move to the office where we're at now, and it's gonna be built within a year." And we're like, "Oh, perfect!" Because the lease that we have in Grand Terrace is about a year. So when that one's over, we'll just transfer over there. So when the time came, I came and gave the deposit to Mr. Park at
Mhm.
this office, and this guy like started ghosting me. That guy started kind of ghosting me. I'm like, hey, I gave the deposit and blah blah blah. He wouldn't answer, and he was going through a lot of emotional things. I don't even know, and he wouldn't answer or he wouldn't show up. I'll be like, oh look, we need this, we need to buy this. He wouldn't show up. He'll just tell me, just write a check out to yourself and go and pay or whatever. He was just kind of started being weird. And finally, when it was time to move, and I was like, oh well, we need to move. Yeah, finally, he said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. The office is all yours. And I was like, uh you know I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to work me, but at that time my mom was working there. Jose Mendoza
Mhm.
was working there, was one of his agents, and he had like a few agents. I want to say he had about maybe 12 agents that were working for him, And so now these people had files in line, they had all these things. And I was like, pues no los puedo dejar así, including my mom. My mom had just sold her puesto in the swap meet. So
Mhm.
where was she going to go?
Mhm.
You know, so I think that that was a moment for me where I had to grow up really fast and be like, I have to step in and
Yeah.
see. And you know, and I that's how I've made it happen, just through the school of hard knocks, just cut learning as I went, because I really never had a broker. He used to, the way they used to happen before, they used to like rent out broker licenses. So a guy would
Mhm.
just kind of put his name, and then you would run it like yours. So he was never
Mhm.
ever there. We never got training from a broker, nothing. So everything I would learn through trial and error.
Mhm.
Everything. So everything. So that's why I emphasize a lot with agents. Like, you know what? Do things right from the beginning. I wish I would have had somebody tell me things, because I would have, things would have been a lot easier, right? But that was my journey, was to learn of what not to do. And
Mhm.
of course, through that time, we learned through lawsuits, obviously. You know, we've learned through getting in trouble, like stuff like that. It's not a cool way to learn, but that was my journey of how I learned. And you know, and how good thing was that I was still very young, to
Mhm.
where I can take I could take the stress better. You know,
Yeah.
you're talking about, I was in my early 20s. I was really
Mhm.
young. So things, I wouldn't take them as serious, because I
Mhm.
was too young to even understand the magnitude of the problem sometimes that I would get into.
Mhm.
But you know, here we are, and we've managed. And yeah,
Mhm.
but that's how I got started, and that's how this office got started. Synergia got started. Before I became a broker, I used to have that same guy with you know, used to let us borrow his license, because so that we can function, until I became my own broker.
Brokerage.
Hmm.
So how long have you been a broker? Like,
I've been a broker since 2011, maybe
oh,
2011.
okay.
Yeah, since
That's
20.
still a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah, that's a long time. And you know, I've learned a lot as a broker. And it's been fun. It's been a cool ride. Yeah.
Does anybody in the office inspire you, like from your agents? Like, do you look at them and be like, I wish I was
Everybody, like, honestly, like, you guys make me proud when I see Carla. Makes me proud.
like
Like,
that?
you know, like, people that I see, I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I feel very proud, and I feel very inspired, because I see people walking without nothing, and I
Mhm. Mhm.
see them, and I'm like, wow, like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see how much growth has happened. You know,
Mhm.
it's crazy to see how much your lives have changed, like how different you guys are. Like, when you walked in the first time I saw you in my office, when I met you, like, you know,
We
and
were so quiet.
yeah, you know, like, so quiet.
We didn't know
And you
nothing.
know, and look at you now, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you're handling, you too, the way you
Mhm.
talk now, like, you know, it's totally different. Like, you know, and how have you guys developed yourself in it? And it makes me really proud. It makes me really proud, because I like to see people succeed. You
Yeah.
know, I like to see people go up. I like to see us, especially siendo Hispanics, you know,
Mhm.
get on top of that ladder, go that higher level, right? And I think because we owe it to our parents, I think to
Mhm.
our families that work really hard to have us here, and it's our duty to do better, to do more, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it's been like I mean, I never thought we were gonna make this kind of money though.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that? Did you
Mm-mm.
ever like?
I never knew.
Don't get me wrong. I never joined in this industry because I want to be rich. No, but I just thought, like, oh, someday it's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And now clients call us. Like, it feels really cool to
It feels
just,
cool.
it's just, I mean, all that. Obviously, the first year door knocking,
Yeah.
calling,
Yeah.
and you hustle,
Yeah.
hustle, hustle,
Yeah.
hustle,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
A lot of putting in the work in the
Yeah.
first year, second year,
Yeah.
until you. I think that, like, when I first started, like, I mean, I didn't really expect to be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
I think that, I I don't know. I dreamt, like, being successful, but I don't think I dreamt to this amount of, um, yeah, like, to be able to help first time buyers, people buying mobile homes, land, people wanting to invest.
Yeah.
People wanting to get rentals, being able
Yeah.
to know all of this different information. I never expected to know this much. I think like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
or just even traveling, like
Mhm.
to, we'll be right back. I mean, we were gone for, I don't know how long we
Few
were
days.
towards, yeah, like a whole week,
Yeah.
just to
Just to
sell
go
home
venture
over
out.
there. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the, like, that's pretty cool to
Yeah.
be in this industry,
Yeah.
because I think everybody imagines, mm, cars, material stuff,
Yeah.
but they don't see that, okay, yeah, like you can have all that, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like,
And the real mission is the other all that extra stuff is the icing on the cake, right?
mm-hmm,
But what we do is service people and just to see how people trust you and put
mm-hmm,
all their trust in you. Dude, that's huge, and
yes,
put like the largest investment that they'll ever do,
ever.
their hard work and everything. I think that's huge, and it's such a gift. It's
Mm-hmm.
such a gift to be able to do what we do.
I think to me also, aside from, making their dreams come true, as in because they never thought they would be able to buy a house, is like when they call us like years later
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, I want to sell my house," and then my satisfaction is, I told you,
Mm-hmm.
I told you to buy, because if you would have not bought, because it could be any reason. The interests are too high,
Yeah.
or the house is too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at you now. Now you have all this equity that you can, do so much with.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just it makes me very, very happy.
Right. Right.
Aside from all the stuff. But like I think it's pretty cool to have that, in your belt, to be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I did that.
Yeah, I did that.
And
Yeah.
then they still gonna buy something better.
Yes, and they're gonna
Yes.
and when you see those families, like it's not the first one, but you already sold in the second, and to see the history of where they started and where you got them,
Yes.
it's crazy.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Or even just the transition, because a lot of people would come from, Santa Ana to over here to the IE,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be like, it's too far, or and then now they're like, I have all this equity, and then I'm like, would that had happened over there? No,
No, yeah,
because you would have be broke,
yeah,
and
exactly,
you would have not
exactly,
been able to buy. And so I think that's what I,
yeah,
like about it too.
yeah,
and I think it's the change in people's lives that like for the better that really makes like this job really this career path really like worth it because you see like how people's lives have changed instead of like you mentioned like people that could have or couldn't buy in Orange County or LA and they bought a home over here
yeah,
and now they're able to enjoy that home ownership
yeah,
and one in particular Jaime is like he his house is amazing now like he put a lot of
yeah.
work into it and I think seeing people like that too like they take pride in their home and that's really cool like to see that you can make a difference in people's lives from being not having that opportunity over there to moving them somewhere where
Mm-hmm.
they probably didn't think about but now they have even better things than they could have imagined
Right.
Yeah, that I think that's pretty cool that we have that ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or people that are very they're living check by check,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're having their home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and they just, no one have taken the time to say, okay, you can do it,
Right.
until
Right.
we come and we're like, we'll figure it out, like
Yeah.
we'll do whatever you want. And then giving them their keys.
Yeah.
And or like when little kids are like, this is my room,
Yeah.
like it feels really cool, because
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't grow up having my own room, but
Right.
like for them,
To be able
like
to
I'm happy
give
for
that.
them
To be able
that
to
they're
give
gonna
that
be
to
able to
them.
have their own room, or having just one bathroom, and now they're gonna have two bathrooms.
Right. Right.
So they're not used to having two
Right.
restrooms, so like
Exactly.
nobody talks about that,
It's like an
so I do.
upgrade. It's like an
Yeah.
upgrade. And it's crazy because you empower them. You
Mhm.
empower them to be like, oh, I could do this. I
Yeah.
could do this.
Mhm.
It's not that hard. It's not that scary.
Yeah.
So that's really
Because
cool.
I mean, even me personally, when we bought the house, I thought we wouldn't be able to do it. And then when we saw this house, remember it was raining.
Yeah, it's pouring. It was pouring. It was that day was
It was
pouring.
pouring. It was dark. It was that dark pouring day.
Mm-hmm.
And then this house was all brown.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember
and
that.
then and then it looked like this.
Yeah.
And then I remember mm, we were not gonna buy it because obviously there was disagreements.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then I'm like, no, this is perfect. I can do this. I can do
Uh-huh.
that, and then
Uh-huh.
I can do this,
Yeah.
and then oh my gosh,
And here it is.
and here it is. Yes, look at us now. But yeah,
Awesome.
thank you, Sandy, for coming, for taking
Thank you
time
for
out of your
having
busy
me.
schedule,
Thank you so
and
much. It's
Yes.
been very fun.
Yes, thank you for being here. I know, and jump starting this with us. I know this is a big step for us. We're really excited that you were able to come on and share your experiences, your history, and of your success, honestly, and being there every day for us too, in our career. Because as our viewers know, is that you're our broker and our boss, so we spend a lot of time together. Um, and so thank you for being
Yeah.
here
Well,
on
thank
our first video here on VHA magazine with their.
yes,
you. Yeah.
thank you for watching.
Thank you, thank you. And I wish you guys the best of luck with all this that you guys are doing. You guys are killing it. You guys make me very proud. And thank you guys for believing in the vision. Thank you guys for believing in me. And as you guys know, I'm always there for you guys. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me as your first guest. Thank you.
Thank you.